Hey y'all, it's Woe. I'm here with Urethra Burns, and we're going to be doing our show Queer Across America, Houston, here at Avant Garden, Saturday, September 14th. I'm so excited to have you. I'm so excited about this alternative drag solo performance art you're going to treat us to. So, what kind of drag do you do? I guess that kind of stuff.
So I do club drag as well, but majority of my work is like performance arts and visual arts. And so a lot of what I do is a mix of lip syncing, performance art, and then theater solo shows.
Awesome. Yeah. How did you train as a performer?
So I am an art school dropout, and I did 2 years in film, 2 years in acting, and then 2 years in experimental performance art and dance. And then I still didn't get a degree after all of that. So very academic, but also very like rushed academic.
Okay. I mean, but 6 years, I mean, you got quite a bit in there. So, didn't you say your professors were basically like, look, you don't need to stay anymore, like, you know what you're doing?
Yeah, essentially, because I knew that I wanted to do something multidisciplinary,
Yeah.
and I had a feeling that I was going to do drag. And then my professor was basically like, you have the skill set to just do like all of that right now.
Yeah.
And basically, all my FAFSA had ran out, and they were like, go ahead and go. And I really did not like the academic art world in any ways as well, honestly. And so yeah, just decided just to do whatever I wanted after I left.
But now you're saying like you're getting more into academic
I
art
am
again?
a little bit. So I have done a couple of like shows with U of H, and done a few panels and stuff. And I do think that there still is a place for it. I just think a lot of it is still very gatekept.
Mhm.
And so I think a lot of the people that should be in those places are not in those places.
Mhm.
And they're also very filled with a lot of language that people don't understand that's unnecessary. So in some ways I am there, but I also, just my name alone really kicks me out of a lot of academic places for sure.
Yeah. So where did the name come from?
So I've been sitting on it for a while. I think I want to say like at least 4 years even before I started drag. So about 10 years ago, I heard a drag queen called Urethra Franklin, and I do not remember where they are at all anymore. And then I basically just came up with it after then.
What kind of experience are you hoping to give the fans at the show?
I think so. Avant Garden has been very queer adjacent. I would say they do a lot of like arts, and they've had a lot of queer performers.
Yeah.
And so I think it's nice to finally have just more specifically queer, and also having like music and like alternative drag and things that you usually wouldn't see at clubs in Houston and bars.
Yeah.
Which Avant Garden loves as well, and they have that a lot. And so I just think in general, just seeing the variety of queer arts at a level that's more than just 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah.
At like 11 p.m., 10 p.m. when everyone's already drunk.
Yeah.
I mean, clubs are great, but at the same time, like you still, it's nice to have those spaces where you can do something that is a little bit more, thought out and can hold an audience a little bit longer. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, that's definitely a big reason I want to do these shows, is like to give like artists time to do whatever your full vision is, whether that's like 25 minutes or like 30 minutes or whatever. Like I want people to like come and get like their money's worth for like coming to see what you do, you know? So specifically like with your acts, like what kind of stuff's going to be going on?
So this is going to be more on my theatrical performance art side.
Okay.
And so a lot of it is like a mix of drag and spoken word. And then I do a lot of like performance lectures, which are definitely much more performance than lectures.
Okay.
So essentially it's like just covering a lot of mental health topics and just aspects of my life, and then presenting it in a very artistic, experimental way. So I've done a lot of working with the myth of Narcissus, and basically just the misconceptions that people have behind it, and that of what narcissism means, and also that like narcissism is an actual like mental health diagnosis, and so just kind of addressing a lot of that, and then vulnerability, and then like just like self-love, and I mean like intense like true self-love, not just like, oh, I love myself, but like genuine like wanting to like sleep with yourself, wanting to like marry yourself.
auto attraction.
Yeah, and
Okay.
so I just like pushing it to that limit and seeing like why people find that unhealthy and why people are so opposed to that.
You should be feeling that. If you're not, I mean, what's going on?
Yeah.
What are some political issues that you're passionate about?
So when I first started drag, I was very much about politics and anarchism and stuff, and I still am.
Yeah.
I just think I've gotten a little bit more controlled and a little bit more of like, I kind of call it like triage of activism. So it's like who needs things immediately right now, and who is hurting the most, and what needs to be spoken on. And so I kind of come a little bit more that's only speaking of what I know, which is a lot of the self-love and the vulnerability, and just existing as a queer person, and then giving spaces to other artists that are more marginalized. And so I am also a curator of a show called Future is Trans, where we are basically giving a space to non-binary and trans artists of all kinds to perform in spaces they may not have otherwise have been able to perform in.
Yeah.
And so I'm just very passionate about basically finding spaces and forcing spaces whenever the spaces are not there, and kind of making the audience like you.
If you had to describe Houston in 3 words, what would you say?
Poor, rich, and diverse.
Poor, rich, and diverse. Wow. Can you explain?
I think Houston has the poorest of the poor and like the richest of the rich, very much so. We have a lot of secret rich people.
Yeah.
And Houston is one of the most diverse cities, but it's also one of the most segregated cities.
Yeah.
In America. And so I just think we have diversity, both good and bad in many ways in Houston. And I just think it's a place where a lot of people are struggling, but are able to kind of feel that passion of everybody is struggling together and dealing with just the weirdness of Houston, and a city that wants arts and wants downtown in Montrose, but at the same time they don't want it and they don't want to put the money into it.
Yeah.
So I just think,
Thank you for that. Yeah. Appreciate it. Yeah. I mean, I just got back here, so I'm asking y'all what it's like, because I know what I grew up with when I was younger. I feel like everything was very different, in the early 2000s, just very conservative and heterocentric, and a lot has definitely changed, but everywhere you go, there's still so many things entrenched. And I think people's perception of Houston, outside of this city, has not really changed at all. Whenever I tell people I was from Houston and New York, they'd just be like, oh, Texas, and then everything that comes with that, the Cowboys and Republicans and everything. And I was just like, no, that's not really how I grew up. I'm a city kid, I didn't ride horses, I don't do that stuff. But I definitely agree with you that it is kind of a conflicted place, kind of on the edge of going one way or the other at all times.
I think a lot of the queer acceptance in Houston has come from just queer people not being able to leave Texas.
Yeah.
And kind of forcing themselves to find those places and be seen and be booked and be given grant money and all this kind of stuff in Houston. And it's just because I don't think the city itself has gotten more diverse and more accepting. I just think we've gotten tired and kind of just force our way into being accepted.
That's one way to do it. Yay! Well, we're so excited to have you, Urethra Burns, on this show. Saturday, September 14th. Y'all come through. Go on, Urethra Burns. Bye-bye.